I was not going to make a video on this, but then I got the ad again, and like now I have to. There's a prenatal company that has an ad out right now, and like the headline is like, we did an IRB approved study. And they're saying it in a way to like lend credibility to their research. We got approved by an institutional review board, so you should trust the findings. It means our data is legit. And what made me chuckle about that is that an IRB does not mean your data is legit. An IRB means you collected your data in an ethical way, which is amazing. I love them for using an IRB. But you could use an IRB and still have a trash study, to be clear. So like, weird flex. Also just interesting because I'm like, is IRB going to be like a new marketing phrase? Because the other thing that I feel inclined to mention is there are pay to play IRBs. They don't mention the name of their IRB, which is interesting. You could actually make your own IRB to vet your own study. Interesting, right? They don't say a certain university did the research. They just say it's IRB approved. Don't say the name of the IRB. That makes me a little suspicious because there are plenty of IRBs that you can just like pay to use. Are they still quality? Maybe, maybe not. Like, why don't you drop the name of it and let us decide? Or was it a university that doesn't feel comfortable being associated with like marketing materials and that's why you can't say the name? Like, so many questions right off the bat. But the thought that IRB approved means good study or legit data is laughable. That is not true. But then to make it worse, they're using this study to say only people who are taking our prenatal had like the right levels of nutrients for pregnancy. That's a big finding. Only our prenatal got you to the levels you really need. And then you see all their charts comparing their prenatal to the standard prenatal. At this point, I am expecting a pretty like rigorous study. I'm expecting a pre-post design where they are comparing their prenatal to a standard prenatal, perhaps to people who had no prenatal. And you're looking at vitamin levels before taking anything, and then you're looking at vitamin levels after you've been consistently taking the prenatal for a certain period of time. I'm expecting data on how often people took the prenatal. I'm expecting data on how many months or weeks they've been taking the prenatal. I'm expecting stats on what their blood levels of the nutrients were before taking it and after. Is that what I get when I read the study? No. Let's talk about what we do get. It's an observational study, so there's no intervention. Basically, they collected data on people who were taking a standard prenatal and data on people who were taking their prenatal. How many people? I'm glad you asked. They have data from 212 women taking a standard prenatal and 23 women taking their prenatal. So when they give you a chart like this, the dark green is data from 23 women, and the light green is data from 212 women. Is that a good study comparison? No. And then like you read the report and it's like, what did we find? It's like, well, we found these two groups of people taking prenatals are pretty similar in key characteristics. Well, I would hope to God you found that. That should be in your sample design. That's not a finding. That should be like something you controlled for in the setup of your study. God, if these groups aren't equal, why are you even comparing them? These prenatals have wildly higher concentrations of nutrients than the other prenatal vitamins. Just as an example, 2 milligrams of B6 in this standard prenatal vitamin, 40 milligrams of B6. That's 20 times the amount of B6 in the vitamin, y'all. If you take this and your nutrient levels are not higher than someone taking the other one, like, how would that even be possible? Maybe like the bioavailability of the vitamin or something like that, but like, of course your levels should be higher. You are taking significantly more of it. Did we need data from only 23 people to prove this, or could we have just read the back of the bottle? But because it's getting presented as a study and an IRB approved study, it suddenly seems like these prenatal vitamins are better. I don't like twisting and manipulating research for purposes like that. I think it is important that we have more research that advances women's health. I would be very interested in the benefits of certain prenatal vitamins over other prenatal vitamins. I'd be interested in knowing what actually is the level that you need in a vitamin to generate a particular level then in your blood panels. This study does not do any of that. This to me screams marketing using research to manipulate, and I don't like that. If they really cared about advancing women's health through research, a study would look more like this. It would get baseline levels of nutrients in women who are pregnant, or maybe right before they become pregnant, maybe both. Then they would either start taking a prenatal vitamin, not take a prenatal vitamin, or take your specific brand of prenatal vitamin. And you would track how often they take it, how many days they take it, and you would find certain periods of time to retest their blood levels and see how the nutrient level changes. And then I imagine you would compare that to the standard of where you actually need to be at in terms of nutrients. You could learn what is the level required in the vitamin. You could learn how does like the level in the vitamin translate to a level in a human, and you could compare across different brands. That sounds like a super fascinating study. This study looked at only 23 people taking your vitamin to draw a conclusion that we could have drawn just by looking at the supplement facts, but dress it up using language like IRB, and now it's like marketing gold. There are already studies on that, which is probably why you didn't, and that wouldn't further advance your company. If you really want to look at the efficacy of your vitamin, you're going to need more than 23 people, and you're going to need a rigorous study design. The IRB doesn't make your design rigorous, just makes it ethical, which is great. I love that, but it doesn't make it rigorous.